before New York had Wall Street. Before London had the city, there was Amsterdam, a tiny republic carved out of the sea, whose merchants quietly built the financial system that now runs your life. Stocks, banks, insurance, speculation, even the first crash. All of it began in a city sitting below sea level. Welcome to Financial Timeline, where money, power, and history collide. And nothing is ever as simple as it looks. 400 years ago, Amsterdam was an anomaly. No king, no empire, no gold mines, hardly any land worth farming. So how did a powerless republic rewrite global economics, with one asset more valuable than gold? Trust. The Dutch didn't conquer land. They conquered distance. They dug canals, mapped oceans, and turned trade itself into an industry. Every ship leaving Amsterdam carried more than cargo. It carried paper, contracts, insurance, and letters of credit, promises worth as much as metal. And this simple question changed the world. How do you fund a journey no single person can afford? In 1602, Dutch merchants created a solution so powerful that it still shapes your bank account today. The Dutch East India Company, the world's first joint stock corporation. Before this, trade was gambling. One voyage, one ship, one roll of fate. But the VOC invented something revolutionary. Permanent capital, shares that anyone could buy, ownership that could be traded like an object. Wealth was no longer tied to work. You could profit from a voyage. Without sailing, for the first time in history, capital moved farther than people. The company exploded in scale, raising billions in today's money. It printed its own coins, built its own armies, and negotiated with kings. But its greatest creation wasn't an empire. It was a market. Because once people could buy and sell shares, they began doing it every day. Rumors became prices. Prices became fortunes. Fortunes rose and collapsed overnight. In a church courtyard, the modern stock market was born. There was just one problem. Europe's money was chaos. Cities minted their own coins. Half of them were clipped, shaved, or forged. So Amsterdam built a new invention. The Bank of Amsterdam, the world's first true central bank. Deposit your coins gives the bank ways, and verifies them gives you receive bank money. A perfectly stable credit everyone trusts. Suddenly, merchants across Europe opened accounts. Governments borrowed from Amsterdam bank money, circulated like today's digital money trust, replaced metal. Confidence replaced gold. And that idea would one day support the entire global economy. Once you can trade ownership on paper, something magical and dangerous happens. People stop betting on goods. They start betting on prices. Amsterdam invented futures options, insurance markets, speculation as a profession, and inevitably, it invented the first modern bubble. Not in land, not in gold. In a flower. Tulips. A single rare bulb could cost as much as a canal house, not because it was useful, but because someone else might pay more tomorrow. And when someone didn't, the market collapsed. Fortunes vanished in days. Speculators went bankrupt overnight, and Amsterdam gave the world the blueprint for every crash that followed. But here's the twist. The Dutch didn't ban speculation. They studied it. They adapted. They learned that markets run on emotion, not math. And that lesson became the foundation of modern capitalism. By the mid-1600s, Amsterdam was the richest city on earth. Its warehouses overflowed with spices, sugar, silks, and silver. But the real treasure wasn't physical. It was numbers in ledgers, backed by trust. Kings who mocked the Dutch for being shopkeepers came begging for loans. Even England, future ruler of the world, relied on Amsterdam as credit to build its navy. And then England capped the entire system. In 1694, it created the Bank of England. Government bonds, national debt markets, financial imperialism. London became the new Amsterdam. Then New York became the new London. The entire global economy is a copy-paste of a 17th century Dutch experiment. But the Dutch made one fatal mistake. They mastered credit so well They drowned in it. Instead of investing in new ventures, they lent money abroad to England, France, even the United States. Amsterdam became a rentier city. Rich, but stagnant. By the late 1700s, its power was fading. Napoleon invaded. The Republic collapsed. Yet the system survived, because once you create an economy based on belief, you don't need to survive physically. You only need others to keep believing. And they vive. Every financial mania today is a remix of Amsterdam's story. The South Sea bubble, the roaring 20s, the dot-com boom, the 2008 crash, the crypto collapse. Different assets. Same psychology. Optimism outpacing reality. Leverage outpacing caution. Belief outpacing truth. Capitalism doesn't end with crashes. It evolves through them. That's why Amsterdam's invention is so powerful. It isn't a machine. It's an organism. It grows. It adapts. It monetizes its own disasters. Because capitalism isn't really about money. It's about narrative. The belief that tomorrow will be bigger than today. The faith that paper or data represents real value. The conviction that risk can be controlled. Those ideas were born in the mud of Amsterdam, and they rule the world for centuries later. Amsterdam proved one thing. Systems built on trust can conquer more than armies ever could. But every empire built on belief eventually faces the same question. Does it still deserve that belief? If this changed the way you see the world, hit subscribe. History has the answers, and I'll show you where to look.